Hello, my name is Andy Burke, and I'm a student at Kennesaw State University. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how coaches can help decrease the number of Tommy John surgeries performed on adolescent pitchers. But before I get started, I'm going to give you a brief history of Tommy John surgery. Tommy John was a left-handed pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers when he tore his ulnar collateral ligament in his throwing elbow. At this time, this was considered to be a career-ending injury. A desperate Tommy John went to an orthopedic surgeon and told him to do whatever he had to do to fix his elbow. Improvising, the surgeon took a tendon from Tommy John's non-throwing arm and replaced it with his torn ligament. 18 months later, Tommy John continued pitching and ended up playing 14 more injury-free seasons. This topic matters to me because after I had finished school, I wanted to be the general manager of the Atlanta Braves. It is important to me because as the general manager of a ball club, I would want my pitchers to be 100% healthy and have no signs of injury. It is extremely hard to find top-of-the-notch pitchers nowadays because at such a young age, their careers are ending. If the numbers continue to rise, me and many other general managers will be fighting over pitchers to draft because they will be so scarce. Parents of athletes should also be concerned because sometimes scholarships are the only way that their child can attend college. If a young pitcher blows his elbow out his senior season, the school may retract the scholarship offer, leaving the athlete with no way to pay for college. There are two main voices when it comes to Tommy John surgery. One is leading surgeon at Andrews Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center, Dr. James Andrews. The other, research director of American Sports Medicine Institute, Dr. Glenn Fleessig. Both of these men study sports-related injuries and look for ways to prevent them. After all, sports are the number one leading cause of injuries in children, averaging 3.5 million children treated annually. The conversation that has been surrounding this topic is what exactly can people in the baseball industry do to decrease the number of Tommy John surgeries that are being performed on youth baseball players. Dr. Andrews states that every 1 in 3 Tommy John surgeries that he performs is on an adolescent adult. Dr. James Andrews believes that it is off-the-field issues that are causing this rise. In his research, he actively proclaims that it is Major League Baseball and NCAA that have the most to do with it. He says that they are pressuring young pitchers to try to be better than they are so that they can get a scholarship or get drafted. On the other hand, Fleessig states that it is an on-the-field issue and that it can be controlled. In an article that was written by both Fleessig and Andrews, Fleessig agrees with some of Dr. James Andrews' points, but says that overall, it is bad mechanics, an increase in velocity, and an increase in breaking pitches that are to blame. Fleessig states that the rise in these might be in relation to showing out to scouts. Most everyone can agree on one thing, and that this is a growing epidemic that can be fixed by following precautions and procedures. Now you might be asking yourself, what do coaches have anything to do with this? Contrary to what Andrews and Fleessig believe, I believe that it is coaches to blame for the rise in this epidemic. The coaches are in charge of what happens during the game. They decide who plays, where they play, who pitches, and how long they pitch. One of the points that Fleessig made in his article was that when pitchers are not pitching, the coach will place them at the catcher's position to keep their arm loose. While it seems like a great idea, in the long term, it causes overuse of the elbow and might cause the elbow to tear much quicker. Now, what am I getting at, you might ask? Like I said before, the coach positions the athletes. So knowingly or not, they're causing this young athlete much harm by trying to keep his elbow loose, just so they can win 1 or 2 more games during the season. At the youth age, coaches can control what their pitchers are pitching. In the same article that was written by both Fleessig and Andrews, they both boldly state, do not throw breaking pitches, which can be classified as curveballs or sliders, until at least puberty, which is around age 13. Instead, a youth pitcher should focus on a fastball and a changeup, and focus on pitch control. Coaches can stress to their pitchers not to throw these breaking pitches and tell their catchers to not call for them. By doing this can also reduce the number of injuries. Eric D. Parks and Tracy R. Ray, who both have medical degrees and specialize in sports medicine, agree with me. They state, it is essential that coaches, parents, and the athletes themselves become aware of potential overuse injuries. Parks and Ray also state that pitchers should not participate in year-round baseball activities. A lot of the time, coaches encourage players to play in tournaments year-round so they can stay active. Although I blame the coaches, there are many things that many organizations such as Little League and USSSA can do to help decrease the chance in youth injuries. One thing that all major voices agree on is that there are rules that these organizations could put into effect to help this epidemic. Andrews, Fleessig, Parks, and Ray have all proposed new rules to these organizations. The rules that have been proposed are not meant to harm anyone, but to help pitchers in the long run. Some of the proposed rule changes are as followed. Ban radar guns. Radar guns just encourage pitchers to throw as hard as they can so they can impress scouts. Ban pitchers from also playing the catcher position. This will decrease overusage in the elbow and give the elbow time to rest. Have an umpire at all mound meetings, and if a pitcher complains of elbow tiredness/pain, remove the pitcher immediately from the game. While there are many more rule propositions, these really stuck out to me. Adding these rules would do no harm to the game, and it would not cause any delays. The only question left are what are organizations such as Little League and USSSA waiting on to implement these changes? Well, that's all the time I have today. Thank you guys for listening and leave me some feedback.